Okay, hello, good morning. I hope this Monday finds you well and excited about the week ahead. I have a lovely, well, who am I? My name is Alan Friesen. My day job is the chief evangelist of the Caring Employers Healthy Teams Collaborative, which is a system, a way to put better health and wellness for your team, to help your team members achieve better health and wellness. It involves your group benefit programs, but it also involves saving money on your group benefit programs, providing longer rate guarantees, and providing better benefits. So if you're interested in that, let me know. But today I have with me Marilyn Contois. Is it Contois? Is that my pronouncing that right?
Yeah,
Okay,
Marilyn Contois. And so I work for the Blood Tribe Department of Health as a case manager and by names list coordinator. And I work at the Lethbridge Shelter. The Blood Tribe Department of Health assumed management of the shelter on January 2nd, 2023. And so we're going into the winter season now. It's starting to get cold outside. As you all know, we've advertised in the community that we're doing a winter donation drive, and we'll be sharing that poster. I know the dates have passed, but we always welcome donations from the community. You could drop them off at the shelter directly or contact somebody on the poster or call the shelter to make a pickup arrangement if you'd like.
And like for many of us, when I talked to Marilyn last week, we had a conversation about it, and I went through my closet, and there was like a whole whack of clothes that I wasn't wearing anymore. So it's not all necessarily winter clothes, but it's clothes in general, which you need as well. Correct?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So because the people that end up in the shelter sometimes, or that come to the shelter, lots of times they come with nothing, right?
That's true. And you know what? Like, be honest with you, I'm one paycheck away from being in a shelter. So, I wake up every morning. I'm thankful that I do have a way to be able to live, right? And so, years ago, I was actually at a shelter in Vancouver. So, and I relied on donations from people to be able to clothe myself and my daughter at the time. She was a young girl, and it's greatly appreciated. We're asking for winter jackets, mitts, toques, warm clothing. I know we don't have a whole lot of storage at the shelter, but we are going to be renting a storage facility to keep these items so that we have it on hand when people need them and to keep them warm. When I started working there last January, we saw a lot of frost bites on people's hands and toes. We're really grateful that we have other agencies coming in to help out the clients at the shelter with that kind of thing. It was sad, like they came in to help with dressing changes for their frost bites and stuff. But if we could prevent that and be able to have an abundance of mitts and warm socks, that would be greatly appreciated.
I'm just posting on my screen here the winter donation drive. So it says what they're looking for. Blood Tribe Department of Health is looking for donations for the Lethbridge Wellness Shelter. And then there's the phone numbers down there. So disregard the dates, but the phone numbers are the important thing.
Yeah, I know the dates have passed, but we greatly welcome and appreciate any other types of donations that we could get from the community.
Yep, and there you can see the numbers there. We've got 403-635-3533 or Isabel at 780-832-8230. So if you have extra clothes, even I guess if there's blankets and that kind of thing, that'd be good too, right? If somebody's got some extra blankets, or no?
Blankets would the stabilization side of the shelter could greatly use blankets and sheets and stuff like that. Not so much pillows or anything.
Clothes is where you're
Yes,
focused
clothes.
on.
The stabilization side of the shelter has 30 beds, and that's for anybody who is interested in seeking any type of detox or treatment. It's not a detox facility, but if they have a goal of going to detox or treatment, they can definitely go there, and the staff there can help them apply for detox and treatment and facilitate trying to get transportation set up for them. So a lot of folks have decided to take that route, and a lot of people have come and gone and headed out to other detox and treatment facilities. And sometimes too, if people want to just give their body a rest and come and, get some quality rest there, they can stay there for up to 10 days without a treatment plan.
Very, very important
Yeah.
service. I mean, you think of it like last week, we had some pretty bad weather, right?
That's
If
right.
you're out living on the street in that kind of weather, man, frostbite, you said, was a big concern last year and will be again. So good clothing, warm clothing that you have. And if you're like me, you have enough. You have more than enough, right? So in your closet, in your house, you probably got 10 different jackets and you wear one of them. Well, this is a good time to clean out your closet, be a little bit lighter in your life, bring them down to the shelter or call and they will pick them up, and have that for somebody who can use that to keep themselves well, right? You are the wellness shelter. You're all about wellness, right?
That's correct.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we work with a lot of other agencies in the community that come in and they help the guests that are staying there, whether it be housing needs. So we have home-based workers that have people there and they come in and try to meet with them and get them viewings and trying to figure out their income to try to help them secure an apartment or a longer term housing, whether it be permanent supportive housing or other housing alternatives.
As Marilyn said, too, she said she's one paycheck away from being in the shelter, right? And that is the reality for a lot of people. Expenses are going up like
That's right.
crazy. If you have some kind of a vehicle breakdown kind of a
Right.
thing, that could mean that all of a sudden you cannot afford to pay your rent or pay your mortgage payment, and maybe you're outside then, right?
Yeah, that's right. And there's folks that actually that's happened. Their vehicle broke down passing through Lethbridge. They're not from here, but they have had to come and stay there temporarily till they were able to get their vehicle fixed and back on the road, and they can head back home to where they're from. And
Yes.
that happens too.
Do you want to talk any more about your experience when you used the shelter in Vancouver?
When I used the shelter in Vancouver, I grew up in a pretty good environment. I never thought I'd end up in a shelter. So this is something I never thought would happen to me, but being in the situation I was in, I was fleeing an abuse situation. And for me at the time, it was a safe place to be. And I every day went out and looked at apartments and applied for temporary income support until I was able to find a job. And that's where this line of work, I started working for an agency as an outreach worker on the street level in the downtown east side. And luckily, there was a landlord out in Burnaby that was willing to rent to me and my daughter, because I had a lot of barriers too. A lot of landlords wouldn't rent to me, and it happens still. And
Sure,
but
it does.
I was a pretty good tenant, and then I was able to find a job, and then that's when I went back to school for social work for this line of work. And yeah, I was able to come out of that. It took time, couple months there, and every day I was hitting the pavement trying to make a better life for myself and my daughter. And it's definitely something I never would have foresaw prior to being at the shelter. But the staff there were really kind and supportive, and there was times where I felt like giving up and I felt like no one would rent to me. But every day I pushed forward, and I was able to find a place of my own, and I eventually went back to school, and things turned around for me.
And that's a common thing where a woman with her child is escaping domestic violence, right? That happens all the time.
It does, and you don't see it happening. Like, it doesn't happen right off the bat.
No.
You would never think that somebody would do this to you.
Right.
It just, I don't know, things change with people, and
well, I think
weather changes too. So
yeah. I think in Canada-wide, I believe there's about 3,500 women every night who go to seek shelter from a violent relationship, babies in tow, and there's not enough even accommodation for those folks as well. So it's a huge, huge problem in terms of getting them safe so that they can stay well for them and their kids.
That's
right.
So, yeah, and at the time, I pray a lot, and I was asking Creator, why me? Why do I have to go through this? And, the day came where not this shelter particularly, I worked at a youth shelter and also a women's shelter. And one day I seen a young woman coming through the doors with her children, and a lot of the same experiences she was going through, I saw myself, and I was like, wow, okay. So I was able to see myself, and I understood at that moment, sometimes Creator takes us down different paths to help us understand what people are experiencing.
Well, you, from your experience you've had, are now way better equipped, way better value to the folks that you're experiencing, right, that are coming in the door, to be able to help them and to empathize with their situation, right? So
yeah, there, one day at a time, and there really is, there is hope for everybody. I try to remind people of that, and there's opportunities for everybody too. We just have to be able to help people in the best capacity that we can. And so if you have an extra pair of socks or mitts laying around, that kind of thing, that would mean more to somebody than you actually know, and would be greatly appreciated.
is it more for men's clothing or women's clothing?
I'd say more men's clothing, but definitely there's women there as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you and I, perhaps we are in a very fortunate part where we have a warm house to go home, and we can lock the door, and we got a fridge stacked with food, and we got cupboards that have all kinds of food in them, and we got a warm bed to sleep in. Others do not have that. And so this is the shelter, and what Marilyn and her team are doing, huge value for people that are struggling with just things that aren't their fault. Certainly wasn't your fault that your husband became abusive, right?
No, it wasn't my fault.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but those are the realities that happen sometimes. And then to get so that those folks can stay healthy, can stay well, that's part of what we're encouraging you to consider in terms of getting supplies over to the shelter. Anything else we want to share?
Yeah, we just want to share that we're doing the best that we can, and going into the first year of assuming the management of the shelter, just starting to build connections with the community. We're grateful for all the service providers that come to the shelter and help the participants that are staying there. And as members of the community, we welcome the public to come and donate items and that kind of thing. And I think that's where the heart of the community comes into play, and it's greatly appreciated.
Definitely.
Yeah.
One of the agencies that I'm putting this on right now is Shenla, Social Health Equity Network Lethbridge. And what they're about is ending poverty in our community, about making sure that everybody has enough, everybody has a safe environment. So those are the things that they're working together. And the shelter's like boots on the ground, making that happen today, right now.
Yeah.
So that's super important. And then back to my whole Caring Employers, Healthy Teams Collaborative, what we do is with 20% of the revenue that we create, we put it in a fund through the Bridges of Hope charity, specifically for the purpose to keep people fed and keep people safe, because that's where our teams, our clients, we want to enhance the health and wellness of their team members. But in terms of the community, those that are not related to us that way, we want to also contribute to their health and wellness, and being fed and being safe are like two prerequisites for having wellness, for having health. Would you agree?
I agree with that. That's great. That's fabulous.
Give me a hug.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you for your time. And
thank you, Marilyn. Yeah. Okay, so if you have extra, get to the shelter and get it over to them so that it could be used by people who could really need it to stay warm in these and during the winter here. So thank you, Marilyn.
Thank you.